Well, I'm joined by Treasury Minister Alf Cannan here, and it was really, I thought, a good catch-up, Mr Cannan, because obviously it's a busy Tynwald, lots going on, and things going on particularly that affect Treasury. I mean, we can start with the flumes, actually, why not? This overspend on what should have been a single project years ago. You've had to cough up a serious amount more money to try and get this thing fixed. Any enlightenment for the public on this? Or, I mean, were you just happy to write the cheque out?
Well, if there is an overspend on any project, we have to come to Tynwald and inform Tynwald of what has happened and to get Tynwald's approval for that overspend. So, taking the flumes as an example, Department of Education have overspent in terms of the project and require more money to complete the project. So we had to come to Tynwald, present that to Tynwald. In terms of the requirement, the authorisation to spend the money and to adjust the budgets accordingly.
You've got a smile on your face, but I can't believe you're happy that this thing happens like this, because this is constantly, we're hearing always about overspends, and this is not.
No, very serious matters. Well, the way it works is departments have a project, they come to Treasury, they present their business case, they ask for the money, Treasury will assess the prioritisation, the justification for that, and they will get the money and they'll go away and deliver the project. And we've had a series of these projects which haven't gone particularly well and have overspent, and there is now a very urgent and pressing need, I think, for reform in terms of the way that this is done. Okay. And so we are looking and investigating how best to restructure things so that Treasury has a much more active role, or that there is a much more active role in terms of the governance around the delivery of the projects. So we've got to find better ways.
Right, but there's an Auditor General coming in, right? Now, explain that. That's someone it's a big office, isn't it? I mean, it's not just one person. You're talking about a big salary check here, about $250,000 or something, is it going to be?
So the Auditor General slightly different. I mean, it happened to be on the same order paper as the Treasury's request in terms of the budget. So the Auditor General has come from the Tynwald Management Committee. So it's parliamentary, effectively. It's driven by Parliament. So parliamentarians, the MHKs, the MLCs now want to put in an Auditor General, which is fair enough. But there is a £500,000 cost, £500,000 cost, effectively, just under. To establish the Auditor General. Well, we will find the money. Tynwald have now voted to approve this, and that we will now have to work out how we find that money in terms of presenting next year's budget.
Are you happy about the idea? I mean, isn't there someone that's going to be doing almost like what you're doing? You looking about how to save money? I mean, isn't that what you do?
I did not. I was very clear with the Speaker who moved this as heading up the Management Committee, and who's effectively been promoting this for a number of years. That I felt the governance structure around the Auditor General was poor, and I was also somewhat reticent because I didn't feel there was this overriding commitment, parliamentary commitment, to back the Auditor General up. So just to give you an example of that, last year Treasury came with a thoroughly prepared report, financial preparation, operational assessment of the airport. And we essentially said, by changing the governance structure at the airport, by removing it effectively from the control of the civil service, we could deliver, we felt, over a 5-year period, a reduction of £1 million in the subvention we're giving. So basically deliver £1 million
and where are we with that
savings. Idea? Well, interestingly enough, the point I'm making, Paul, so we had that presented, yet that ran into very stiff opposition from the Speaker and from people like Laurie Hooper, which just goes to show. So when you present these reports for savings, they're quite easy to find, but they're not actually always that politically acceptable. But anyway, look, I'm happy to back the Auditor General. I'm happy to back Tynwald's judgment, and the relevant money will be given to the Tynwald Management Committee to get on and set this office up.
I'm very simplistic on these things, so I don't understand. But is his job, is it not, to basically nitpick everyone's budgets and to say, we can save, you can save? Is that how it works? And therefore that £500,000 should easily come back?
Well, yeah, in theory, the Auditor General, whether he or she, will be able to go in, on the project case basis into departments, review whether it's specific projects or indeed whole departments, and come back and recommend where the savings should be achieved. And in theory, within 3 years, the Speaker has assured me and Tynwald, the Auditor General will be more than paying for themselves through direct cashable savings. Now that's great news for Treasury. If that's going to be achieved, then we need to work out a mechanism to ensure that those savings are properly reflected within the budgets that are being received by the department. So in theory, this will work and will save the taxpayer money. As I said, it will only work though if politicians actually get behind the Auditor General's reports and are willing to adopt the recommendations that are put forward.
And you mentioned the airport there. Are you disappointed then that it hasn't gone more private? Was it is that what you were looking for, or corporatisation?
That came out of the SAVE project. So if you remember at the beginning of this administration,
SAVE.
Yeah. So there
are
there's a number of work streams that are being developed and worked through. There's a legal work stream. There's the airport work stream. We're looking at the highways. We're going to bring forward some proposals around the delivery of highway services and various other elements to still continue within SAVE. But on the airport side, that did go through in the end, and we are about to come back again to Tynwald with the governance structure.
Privatisation or corporatisation?
Oh no, I mean it's very much more around a sort of corporatisation model. You know, the government will still own everything. We're just going to run it in a proposal is to run it in a different way.
Hands off.
Well, slightly at arm's length, put a board in there, give them more freedom to try and maximise some of the commercial elements around the airport structure itself. And target them to achieve these savings in terms of the public funds that are going through.
Department of Infrastructure, you touched on it there. I mean, it's called all sorts of names. I think some are quite funny, but I don't think it's for me to say them here today. But there seems to be an overspend or lack of hitting commitment dates and all sorts of things. Do you have any input on this? Are you worried that it's not seen as fulfilling its obligations on the dates that they set off?
I think, Paul, that's exactly why we need to get a pretty thorough review in terms of the way the sort of governance structure is working between Treasury and then departments, particularly when it comes to delivery of the projects. And somewhere along the line, there needs to be much more a much more rigorous process involved in terms of making sure that the projects are rolling out properly, that we've got control of the financial
code here
structure.
for saying yes, there is some problem, and you're going to fix it. I mean, you're muttering around here, but let's come on.
We will bring those proposals forward in the next few months.
COVID now. We were looking at things falling off a massive cliff, and we're doing things almost as normal here. What's it like? You getting your VAT coming back in, you're getting all people paying the taxes, and employment is not too bad. Although it depends how you measure it, apparently.
Well, look, the official statistics show that our unemployment has fallen. We've almost halved the unemployment figure, so we're below 800
but still
now.
Higher than obviously it was.
Well, it's higher than it was, but actually it's within a manageable level. Bear in mind, we were initially expecting unemployment possibly to sort of effectively go through the roof in terms of we were expecting more 2,000 plus people to be unemployed. Actually, the fact is the official statistic is down at 790 or so people at the present who are unemployed, and that's gone down from 1,390 odd during the peak of the pandemic. I think the critical point is, one, actually the performance level seems to have been less damaging than we thought it was. We appreciate that some sectors, again, still needing government support. But
tourism.
Broadly, in terms of what's coming into Treasury, actually the taxation receipts, which you can now see, actually we've got this as open data, about 20% below where we would have normally expected them to be. National insurance,
20% low.
Yeah. The national insurance is roughly on track, which is actually a very positive indicator in terms of the employment and what's feeding back in from businesses. But look, the impact of COVID will mean that we'll be effectively, I think we're looking at possibly 80 to 100 million pound deficit, if you like, compared to last year's position. So there will be a negative.
Last year?
Well, in terms of the budget that we've set out, will be 80 to 100 million pounds less than what we've forecast for this year.
That's a lot of money, though.
Yeah,
it sounds like to me.
Well, it is, and bear in mind some of those facts some of those figures may change because there's still some work or lack of clarity in terms of what we might be receiving in the next few months. But bear in mind, we have healthy and resilient reserves still at present. and also we declared a very healthy surplus at the end of last year, and that to some extent has also cushioned the impact.
And VAT returns, did I read that it's gone up pretty substantially? You're getting more money in that
Well,
agreement?
no, I mean, I think that was a newspaper headline just reflecting the fact that we were sort of back at levels that were sort of around to the 2008 figure. But of course, you have to consider that actually that just that figure alone doesn't really count for the inflationary pressures and the real impact of what happened in 2008. It doesn't necessarily reflect the fact that sort of we're in the money. A lot has changed. There's been inflationary pressures. So actually, in real terms, we're still receiving less VAT than we did back in 2008.